In February of 2016, we had an incredible opportunity at Beacon College. We were invited to go to Washington, D.C. With a group of students and faculty and alumni to undertake a congressional briefing. The audience were the staffers, both Democratic and Republican staffers from both the Senate and the House, who are helping fashion the reauthorization of the Higher Education Act for the United States.
The legacy of this are the numbers, the 83.3% graduation rate, an 83% retention rate, freshman to sophomore retention rate, and even more important, I think, from the perspective of public policy, 8 in 10 of our students either go on to their first career within 6 months of graduation. I think any liberal arts institution would welcome that. Or 15% of our students go on to graduate school. And most of our students, as you might hear today, came to us with managed expectations that they might not be able to go to college, and if they did, maybe an associate's degree. We've turned that on its head.
You know, at least 15% of students who are at colleges and universities now learn differently, and that's a large population. We wanted to accomplish 2 things through this congressional briefing. One was to bring them to a knowledge of Beacon College and the model that we have, which we think is distinct. But there was a second piece of this, and that was to advocate for students who learn differently in all American colleges and universities, but also that the congressional staffers knew what areas of funding might be beneficial to improving the education and service to students who learn differently at the undergraduate level.
Most of us, you would never know that we have a learning disability, but it's not something that's obvious. You talk to me, it's not something that you can tell right off the bat by talking to me that I have a learning disability. So, part of that is just trying to help change the perception of learning disabilities for the future and the raisins, and I'm very happy to be able to be a part of that and to be able to share my story with individuals. Thank you.
We had a panel of students and faculty, alumni, and parents. And there were several very emotional moments, particularly when the parents and the students spoke about how it had been before Beacon and the difference that Beacon had made in lives, in transforming lives, in making college possible and successful for students who learn differently. And I can tell you from the response of the audience afterward, people were very, very moved. These staffers who have seen it all, they're educational staffers for the Senate and the House, really understood that there was a model that worked effectively with students who learn differently, possibly better than any other model that exists worldwide.
There is something magical about the environment when you are surrounded by other students who have walked the walk that you have walked.
I think anytime any institution and its students are invited to Washington, D.C., whatever the forum, it truly is an honor. But to have the kind of impact that these students have is an extraordinary feature of the Beacon experience.